Top 10 Best 4K Camcorders in 2020. As more cameras come out, it gets more and more difficult to distinguish between a good and a great camera these days. Today's camera manufacturers have riddled with hybrid cameras that appear to match the quality of real video cameras. However, the truth is, even the best hybrid camera often has drawbacks compared to a dedicated camcorder and video-centric camera. Today, we'll tell you about the top 10 best 4K camcorders in 2020. Before we start the countdown, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, press the bell button to get the latest updates. Check out Amazon links in the description for each 4K camcorder on the list if you're interested to get one. Without any further delay, let us start. In the list at number 10, we have the Canon HF-G60. Canon's HF-G60 marks the latest entry in the Vixia compact consumer lineup and Canon's next generation of budget-friendly 4K-equipped camcorders. Initially released in the spring of 2019 alongside the lower-end HF-G50, it replaces the older HF-G40 model released in 2016. It features a 1-inch CMOS sensor and a 25.5 to 382.5mm lens, a 3-inch articulating touchscreen, a tilting viewfinder, optical stabilization, DCN, dual card slots, ND filters, time-lapse, microphone, and headphone inputs. For video, it shoots 4K UHD up to 30 FPS at 150 megabytes per second and 1080p Full HD up to 60 FPS at 35 megabits per second. And it uses the MPEG-4 codec, which supplies footage in highly compatible MP4 format. While for stills, it provides 8.2 megapixel photos, and the camera provides excellent subject tracking performance, making it particularly strong for filming movement where manually focusing is challenging. In the end, the HF-G60 is a strong run-and-gun solution that delivers excellent 4K quality in a small, compact design with an AF that leads the class at this price point. At number 9, we have the Sony FDR AX700. Sony's AX700, initially released in the fall of 2017, replaces the outgoing AX100 flagship, and it now takes the helm as Sony's newest high-performing handycam model aimed at the prosumer market. It features 1-inch stack Exmor RS CMOS sensor, 29.0 to 348.0mm Zeiss lens, 3.5-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, optical stabilization, HDR, DCN, dual card slots, ND filters, time-lapse, wireless connectivity, headphone and microphone inputs. In video capabilities, this camera supplies 4K UHD video up to 30 FPS at 100 Mbps in the MPEG-4 codec to the XAVC-S and AVCHD formats. Moreover, it shoots 1080p FHD videos up to 120 FPS at 100 Mbps. For stills, it provides 12 megapixel images in the 3:2 ratio. Sony's equipped the camera with the slow and quick mode, which provides super slow motion HD videos up to a whopping 960 FPS. This creates videos that are 32 times slower than real time, and it's a rare feature in this class, but it's one that delivers an enormous amount of control for a consumer camera. Sony has also equipped the camera with S-Log, S-Gamut, and HLG profiles, increasing the camera's dynamic range. At number 8, we have Panasonic UX90. Initially released in the fall of 2016, alongside the higher-end UX180, Panasonic's UX90 is the slightly lower-end option in the UX Professional camcorder lineup, and this new series is the long-awaited replacement to the AvCam camcorder lineup. Both cameras share many of the core underlying features and capabilities, with a few key differences that make this a better choice for budget-conscious shooters. It features a 1-inch MOS sensor, 24.0 to 480mm Leica lens, 3.5-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, optical stabilization, DCN, dual card slots, ND filters, dual XLR inputs, and a headphone input. For video, it shoots 4K UHD up to 30 FPS at 100 megabytes per second and 1080p FHD 60 FPS at 50 megabytes per second. It shoots using the long GOP compression method to either the MOV or MP4 formats. And for stills, it produces 8.6 MP images. Panasonic has equipped the camera with 8 selectable gamma modes, including their Cine-like D and V profiles from the flagship VariCam. These profiles increase the camera's dynamic range or contrast, preserving details in the footage. The camera also offers a helpful pre-record function, which continually records 4 seconds of video and audio before pressing record, perfect for capturing critical action. In the end, the UX90 is a camcorder that meets the needs of professional productions. At number 7, we have the Canon XC15. Initially released in the fall of 2016, Canon's XC15 is the follow-up to the earlier XC10, released 1 year prior. It's a camera Canon aims to bridge the gap as a hybrid cinematic shooter that's suited to both stills and videos. And it delivers notable upgrades over the predecessor with added capabilities of pro demands. It features a 1-inch CMOS sensor, 27.3 to 273mm lens, 3-inch articulating touchscreen, optical stabilization, an ND filter, dual card slots, DCN, wireless connectivity, headphones, and microphone inputs. Like the XC10, it supports both CFast and SD cards, which allow the camera to deliver incredibly high rates, which quickly outcompete the competition. In this case, that's 4K UHD up to 30 FPS and 305 Mbps using the MPEG-4 codec to the MXF format. It's also one of the few cameras which offers 4:2:2 internally, albeit 8-bit like the competition. For 1080p FHD, it shoots 60 FPS at 50 Mbps. At number 6, we have the Canon XA50. Initially released in the summer of 2019, alongside the XA55, Canon's XA50 marks the latest entry into the 4K prosumer camcorder space. The AX50 is the slightly more affordable of the two offerings, with their main difference ultimately coming down to an SDI terminal. Nevertheless, both cameras are largely identical and are the first in the XA lineup to feature a 1-inch CMOS sensor than the earlier XA30 model. Outside of its larger 1-inch sensor, it also features a 25.5 to 382.5mm lens, optical stabilization, 3-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, dual card slots, dual XLR, ND filters, DCN, and headphone and microphone inputs. For video, it shoots 4K UHD up to 30 FPS at 160 Mbps in the MPEG-4 codec to the MP4 or XF AVC formats. While for 1080p FHD, it shoots up to 60 FPS at 45 Mbps. Canon has also installed the wide DR gamma for increased dynamic range and seamless gradations. On the other hand, for stills, it produces 8.29 MP images. At number 5, we have the Sony PXW Z150. Initially released in the spring of 2016, Sony's Z150 is the next tier in Sony's camcorder lineup, stepping up from the more prosumer-oriented AX series. It replaces the Z100, released 3 years prior, and the next installment into their XD Cam series. It features a 1-inch Exmor RS CMOS sensor, 29.0 to 348.0 Sony G MM lens, 3.5-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, optical stabilization, ND filters, DCN, SDI out, dual XLR, wireless connectivity, and a headphone input. For videos, it shoots 4K UHD up to 30 FPS at 100 Mbps in the MPEG-4 codec, XAVC, and AVC HD formats, while 1080p FHD shoots up to 60 FPS at 50 Mbps. For stills, it produces 14.2 MP images. In the end, Sony's experience in design and manufacturing shows with the Z150. It's packed with features that will excite enthusiasts and pros alike, and it delivers broadcast-level performance with its advanced long GOP codec and footage free of compromises. Overall, it's a strong option for documentary filmmakers, broadcasts, and ENG shooters looking for a grab-and-go solution. At number 4, we have the Sony NX80. Initially released in the fall of 2017 alongside the Z90, Sony's NX80 is their mid-tier 4K camcorder sitting between the AX and Z series. At first glance, it appears similar to the lower-end AX700. However, it's camera-oriented more towards professional applications and offers notable additions. It features a 1-inch Eximar RS sensor, 29.0 to 348.0 mm Zeiss, a 3.5-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, dual XLR, ND filter, DCN, and wireless connectivity. For video, it shoots 4K UHD up to 30 FPS at 100 Mbps in the MPEG-4 codec to the XAVC-S and AVC HD formats, while 1080p FHD shoots at 120 FPS at 100 Mbps. For stills, it provides 14.2 MP photos. In the end, Sony's NX80 offers strong broadcast quality with a high-speed autofocus system and streaming capabilities. It also provides an excellent feature set in a more portable form factor than much of the competition. Not to mention, it's the first palm-sized NX camcorder to deliver 4K HDR content and Sony's HLG profiles. At number 3, we have the Canon XF400. Released alongside the XF405 in the fall of 2017, the XF400 is Canon's latest 4K UHD 60p camcorder for ENG and documentary productions, and the newest entry in the XF detachable handle series of professional cameras. It features 1-inch CMOS sensors, 25.5, 382.5mm lens, optical stabilization, 3.5-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, dual card slots, dual XLR, DCN, ND filters, wireless connectivity, headphone, and microphone inputs. For video, it shoots 4K UHD up to 60 FPS at 150 Mbps in the MPEG-4 codec to the MP4 format. And it shoots 1080p FHD up to 60 FPS at 35 Mbps. Alternatively, for stills, it provides 8.2 MP photos. In the end, the XF400 is a camera suited for broadcast and event work. It's a compact, highly versatile option that'll meet the needs of professionals across a wide range of recording situations. At number 2, we have the Panasonic UX180. Initially released in the fall of 2016, Panasonic's UX180 was released alongside the UX90 as the premium model to replace the AG160. It's a camera that takes much of the core features from its lower-cost counterpart, but adds extras to make it more oriented towards working professionals. It features a 1-inch MOS sensor, 25 to 508mm Leica lens, 3.5-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, ND filters, optical stabilization, DCN, dual XLR, dual card slots, and a headphone input. It records DCI 4K up to 24 FPS, 4K UHD up to 60 FPS, and 1080p FHD up to 60 FPS. And it provides footage using the MPEG-4 codec at 150 Mbps to the MOV, MP4, or AVC HD formats. The camera also offers super slow motion recording up to 120 in FHD. For stills, it produces 8.8 MP photos. In the end, the UX180 delivers enormous upgrades in imaging, connectivity, and versatility over its lower-end counterpart. And it's an excellent choice for professionals needing performance and control in multi-camera environments. At number 1, we have the Panasonic DVX200. Initially released in the fall of 2015, the Panasonic DVX200 offers the greatest set of features of its rivals. It features a 4:3 MOS sensor, 30.6 to 398.7mm Leica lens, a 4.3-inch articulating touchscreen, tilting viewfinder, optical stabilization, DCN, ND filters, dual card slots, dual XLR, SDI out, headphone, and microphone inputs. For video, it shoots DCI 4K up to 24 FPS, 4K UHD up to 60 FPS, and 1080p FHD up to 60 FPS. Moreover, it does so in the MPEG-4 codec at 100 Mbps to the MOV, MP4, and AV-CHD formats. Like the UX180, it supports variable frame rate recording in FHD to 120 FPS. Moreover, for stills, it supplies 8.9 MP photos. In the end, Panasonic's DVX200 is an impressive and innovative release that brings an artistic design to an otherwise stale market. It makes the best camera in its class and provides excellent value for money. It's the ideal choice for documentary filmmakers looking for the benefits of larger sensor without the limitations of traditional cameras. That's all for today, folks. Tell us which one you like the most in the comment section, and don't forget to check out Amazon links in the description. We'll see you soon with another amazing video.